All right. All right. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sam Jackson. All right. We try to get you a couple more audience members this morning, Sam. What's going on?
Yeah, not much, man. How are you, Bill? Good to see you as
I'm
always.
good. It's nice to see you. You better watch out because every time you step foot into the Roswell office, you're going to get roped into something with productivity coaching.
Okay, you can't tell the other offices. It's my favorite.
What's that?
You can't tell the other offices, but it's my favorite. It's my favorite office.
But this is being recorded.
I know. Yeah, that's gonna bite me in the butt. Yeah.
That's okay. Hey,
I love the energy there, man. Like like y'all have like this, you know how like sometimes like a family vibe is like a good thing, but then sometimes it's also very exclusive. Like you guys have the right family vibe where like it's good. I want to party. It feels like Thanksgiving 24/7, and yet we get stuff done. I love it there.
Love that. As I was saying to somebody the other day, somebody asked me, they didn't come out and ask me exactly the way they probably should have, but they essentially were asking like what I liked most about being a productivity coach, or like what I was the most proud of, for example. And I think what they were expecting me to say was, hey, my people are making money and selling homes and having fun. And I said, yeah, that's awesome. I love the fact that they're making money and having fun. But one of the things I'm most proud of is the culture we've built, right? It's the fact that we got a room full of people that want to help each other, right? And second somebody doesn't know something, then they learn it. They automatically want an audience so they can share that information with others. That's critical, right? So cool. Welcome, Sam.
Yeah.
Good morning.
And good. And like as a leader, like you get that, Candace gets it. Like it's fun when you help somebody change their perspective just a tiny bit and their whole world opens up. And sometimes you just need a coach to just ask the question the right way that like anything seems possible at that moment. It's so rewarding to help someone change their view a little bit.
Oh, okay. You might have steered me in a different direction for this morning now, Sam. All right,
you know me, I can go with the flow.
Let's do a quick introduction, so everyone gets a chance to get to know you a bit if they don't already know you. This is Sam Jackson. He is the Director of Innovation and Technology for the Georgia Legacy Group, and he is also a MAPS technology trainer. Did I get that right?
Coach, I'll take coach. That's a
sorry.
I wear very proudly.
So
yeah.
MAPS Sam is a MAPS technology coach.
Yeah.
Which means that people are paying him $1,000 or $1,000 a month to teach them about technology.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't make that $1,000. MAPS gets a pretty good cut of that, but yeah.
Well, as they should. They built the technology, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you guys have an opportunity to come and hang out with Sam today and every Friday from 11 to 12 and pretty much every single day at the office, you're getting that for free.
Yeah.
Sam then turns around and charges $1,000 a month to teach other people that. Okay. So Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So what's really funny is that although I have this very fancy title of Director of Innovation Technology, I do not have a technology background. I graduated from, and this is a fun fact because you guys probably have no idea of this university, but from Quinnipiac University. I got a degree there in advertising.
Isn't that the school that is famous for like surveying or something?
Yeah, the Quinnipiac poll. Yeah, we come up like every 4 years. Anytime there's an election, you
not surveying. Yeah, political polling.
Yeah, political polling. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so very few people from around here have heard it other than political season. But yeah, my passion was really marketing and advertising, and I get really, really nerdy with consumer behavior. Like I love to study that stuff, how we tick as consumers and shoppers. I also haven't sold real estate, which is another fun fact about me. I've been kind of in alignment with real estate my whole career. Once I graduated, I started working for a luxury home builder in the down market. So in 2008, I started working for a luxury home builder, and which is amazing is that like we had our best years ever during that time. The rest of the world was just literally falling to pieces, and yet we had found a system for really lead generating before it was a sexy word. we also hired an ISA before it was really a thing too. So it was kind of interesting to be a part of that whenever that was happening.
What's an ISA, Sam? I mean,
Yeah, an ISA
know,
is
tell everyone what an ISA is, please.
yeah. So an ISA is called it's an inbound sales agent, or you may hear OSA, which is an outbound sales agent, but it's just a really fancy way to say this is the person that may be on your team, or you may be interested in doing this, that just makes the phone calls. And their number one job is just to set appointments and to hand off those appointments for somebody who's going to either close the listing appointment or, go run buyers, but they're going to kind of farm an internal database to find appointments for the rest of the team.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I worked in the marketing department. I'm kind of fun. I was one of the first people to ever be hired into a social media role. So like I was using Facebook from a marketing aspect before there was even Facebook pages. Back whenever like you had to create a profile of your business, and the whole goal was social networking. So yeah, I'd like to joke that I'm one of probably the most experienced, a number of years anyways, social media experts from a marketing standpoint. From there, honestly, took a couple of bad jobs. I was young and stupid and got recruited one day to go take a title that was a little bit sexier than the one I had as marketing assistant. Got recruited to go work on a luxury apartment complex, which I had no business being there. And that was like a spiral of just like bad decisions. Hated the job, got stuck into actually recruiting for a number of years, and I hated recruiting. Man, like I tell you what, like it's really, really hard to convince people to go do jobs that you don't believe in. And that was kind of a fun aspect, but I eventually got my way back into that real estate world. I had a top producer in my hometown of Pittsburgh take a chance of letting me do what I used to do for luxury home builder. Her name was Karen Marshall. She was a $75 million producer in the Pittsburgh area, the top agent up there. And yeah, the rest is history. She was the OP of a market center, had an opening up for a team leader. I got that position, and then eventually I got my way down here from tech. But yeah, kind of an interesting background of like, not really your typical real estate person that gets into leadership. And then yeah, I was thinking with that one.
So you ultimately became team leader in Pittsburgh, is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And honestly, if you ever have the opportunity to take a team leader position, and Bill, you'll probably test this too, it's one of the best opportunities in Keller Williams. They don't come up.
It's the best opportunity in Keller Williams from a learning standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like, I don't know what y'all know about Pittsburgh, but the average age, and it's not about an age thing, but the average age of a real estate agent up there is like about 95. It's a very old school industry. It's like an old boys club. And it's a little bit of a weird culture up there. But I had no business being a team leader. They were like, hey, there's this young guy who knows Facebook. He should go lead our office. And that's the reason they hired me. And it took me about a year to get that wrong several times before I finally got it right. And then, it was the training, as Bill's mentioned, that like going to the classes, going to the training as a team leader, opened up my world to where I went from being a very struggling team leader in a very crappy market to now being in a position that I can pretty much write any opportunity I want because I'm with the right people, the right environment here down the Georgia Legacy Group.
I love that. So you were recruited by Aubrey to run technology for North Atlanta, and then ultimately were given the opportunity to kind of do something similar with some additional leadership, I'm sure you would say, for GLG. And
well, I don't know that
became a bold coach, or I'm sorry,
a maps coach.
Got me distracted by your bold shirt.
Yeah. I'll just circle back 1 second there. I don't know that Aubrey necessarily recruited me. Honestly, I was looking to move to Minnesota. My wife had family there, and I'd actually interviewed for a team leader position. And I just by chance happened to see Aubrey's job post on one of the job boards. And I called him just because I was curious. I was like, hey, what's this market center technology trainer position you have? Like, I'm a team leader. I love the tech, but like, this is going to be obviously a pay cut for me, but tell me more. And I'll never forget, he said, Sam, it may be a step back from where you're at for a team leader, but I swear if you give me 1 year, you don't know this guy yet, but Andy Peters and the rest of the Georgia Legacy Group here, they have one desire, and it's to create opportunities for the people. And given that I had been stuck for probably about like the last year of my life when I was in Pittsburgh, where just like, I don't know, beat my head against a wall with my ownership group, I was like, hey, that's exactly what I need. And yeah, I went down, worked for Aubrey for a year, and maybe not even a year, and soon enough, they're tapping me on the shoulder to be the director for all three groups. And then from there, my world opened up for the conversations or the rooms I got to be in because I was attached to Aubrey and even the rest of the group here.
I love that. So walk us through what's the deal with technology? Why are you so passionate about Keller Williams technology? Why should the average agent care about technology? How much should they care about technology? How much of their energy should be spent in learning this stuff? Walk us through. Let's pretend like, you know how they say, what's the expression? It's something like, if you could create a billboard and the whole town could see the message that you wanted the town members to see, what would that message be about technology?
Yeah, well, and maybe it's my background in new home construction and maybe marketing new home construction for this many years that I gravitated towards tech. Because whenever Keller Williams announced that we're a technology company, and honestly, I don't know how much of that is true now. We've made some changes in leadership there, but we're definitely invested in it without a doubt. But when we first talked about being a technology company, it's a lot like building a new construction house. Like you start with like really raw, awful land, and you have to clear trees and move these big boulders, and it's a hard day's work. And then you got to pour your foundation, and then slowly but surely, like everything starts to come together. And I think that's the appeal for me is like, this is a long-term play that we're building, but when we're done, we're going to have something beautiful that's going to be so desirable that everyone's going to want to be there. We're not just taking an old rickety shed and then throwing some paint on it and saying like, hey, that's our tech of the future. We've decided to do it the right way. We've decided to do it the hard way. And just like a new construction house, as long as you have the right builder, it's going to be the best product out there. But the thing with technology is that it's the future. Like name an industry that hasn't been impacted by tech. I can't think of one.
Right. And if there is one, it's about to get impacted.
Like, and not to mention like the features of the home, like there are smart faucets now. Like you can get a faucet from Delta that says like voice control. It knows like, hey, that's Sam's voice. Like he likes it at this temperature. Like, yeah. And you can compare that with Alexa. Like it's going to disrupt our world one way or another in every aspect. I saw an article that there's like smart toilets now that will take a picture of your, what, and send pictures to your doctor for health reasons. It's crazy the world that we're going to live in the future. And for whatever reason, that's really appealing to me, not the poo part, but the rest of it. The opportunity that we can take just data and information at a high level and compute some type of insight that's going to help us as humans, both as an individual consumer and then obviously as real estate agents, we're going to have the ability to kind of understand what our clients' needs are before they do.
That's right. That's right. If you think that you're going to be able to like get a call from a friend, do a 3-minute FMLS search, open a door, fill out a contract, and get paid 15 grand, you are not even paying attention. That's definitely going to change.
Yeah. It's well, and the world is changing, right? Like Gary Keller, like I hate to say it, he's been quoted to say that, the world of buyer's agent may not exist one day. You see the threat because of, especially during the pandemic, how many of those tech companies came in and tried to say like, hey, we're not paying any commission to the buyer's agents right now, or 1% listings and all this other stuff. Like real estate agents are going to evolve.
Right. I mean, there's new home communities that forever stood by the, you would go in there and companies would say, hey, we're not changing the price if you're not working with a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Right. Because their business model required that they sold a certain number of homes to unrepresented buyers and a certain number of homes to represented buyers. Right. And they wouldn't change their pricing based on whether you had an agent or not. Now we have new home builders that are publicly stating the opposite, right? Hey, come in without your agent, we'll give you a better deal, right? What is your plan, you guys, to solve that, right? How do you deal with that objection when your buddy wants to go to the new home community so he can save 15 grand instead of the 15 grand going into your pocket? What is your defense for that?
Well,
Right.
you have to understand what the problem is, right? Like why do builders treat agents that way? One, we're good at what we do. So whenever they build a crappy house, real estate agents are in the ear of their clients saying like, hey, you probably need an inspection. Don't like ignore the builder and what they're saying. Go get that pre-drywall inspection. You're holding them accountable and they don't like that. And the other part too is that, yeah, you are a service, they are a product. There's a big difference between the two of those things.
Right. Now, let's get back to like a kind of a practical, like, so let me tell you who's kind of in the room real fast. So
I see a lot of people. Hey, Greta.
with a couple of exceptions, we're talking to people that are, let's say, less than a year in the business.
Yeah.
So technology is kind of on the list, if you will, of things you got to do to build your business. So where on that list should it be?
Can I say number one? Because I can't say anything else. No, I'm kidding.
Well, we didn't well, give us some more, tell me more about that, Sam.
Well, like, so technology, I think just the word itself scares a lot of people of like, all right, here's another skill that I have to learn, or maybe a skill that I'm not natural with. I would challenge you to stop thinking about technology as like this other thing. Really what we're doing is we're creating a database. We're creating a system of people that know you, like you, trust, and you're willing to do business with you. Back whenever Bill first started, that was a shoebox full of, I'm kidding. No, but jokingly, when Gary Keller started, he had a 2 shoebox system. That was his database. That was his technology. He had a shoebox full of index cards of every single person that he had names and contact information for. And then the other box is kind of like his opportunities. He had a list of the 12 months and when people were potentially moving. We've basically just taken that shoebox method and made it incredibly smart. We put it into an online platform that you have access to 24/7. And oh, by the way, if you were to open up the windows in your car and your shoebox were to blow out the windows, your life wouldn't be upheaved because we have all that still. It's all backed up and cloud-based. And now we're able to pull insights from that stuff. But I would say the key thing is like technology is not necessarily this like, I don't know, standalone hard skill that you have to learn. You have to understand how a database works. That's really the main component to all this. And I'm sure that, Bill, you're probably hammering that every session with PC.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, give us a little bit more. Somebody gets into the business and we tell them, hey, grow your database, right? Collect all the people that love you and trust you,
Yeah.
right? Go learn the marketplace, make sure you understand the contracts, like learn what to say, learn at your presentations. Like how much, like take your maps hat off for a second and take your GLG Director of Innovation and Technology for a second. And all
Andy did this to me yesterday. I'd be stripped my title just to think differently. You guys are on the same wavelength. Yeah.
I've been working with Andy for years. we share a brain, I guess. Take all that stuff off. Talk to these people like they're brand new in the business, because many of them are.
Yeah.
Okay, what should they be doing right now?
Well, so number one would be you can't be a secret agent, right? So whether it's working with people that you already know, so that could just be getting a system of like grabbing all the contacts that already exist in your world. So whether that's your phone, your Facebook, or some other source, get those people and collect them, put them somewhere to where you can organize them. But like, again, I hate to be like, here we go again. I'm going to pull out the red book. There's the 4 laws of a database. You have to feed it daily. And like when we talk about feeding a database daily, I think number one is you have to start by knowing what your goal is. Like if you don't have, like if you're just rolling out of bed and aimlessly walking around the world saying, I'm going to be a real estate agent, you don't have a purpose or a goal behind it. You're just dreaming. So like get clarity around what your goal is. And number 2, go attack it daily. Either have an appointment goal. And if you're falling short on your appointment goal, at least have a goal of how many people you're going to add to your database or add to your world for future business.
Sam, can you show your MREA book again?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to point out that there are lots of pages marked and I guarantee there are notes in there. And so that's the way to use this book. I just wanted to interrupt and say that because that was great.
I love that. It is a resource manual.
Exactly.
Well, get the ring bound one too. If you don't have this one, Keller Inc. It's more of like the teaching manual. That one's phenomenal. My other one. I literally have 2 copies of it, the same one's the same way. Like I have the types of that one. So yeah, get yourself a couple copies of those. But yeah, have a plan and start attacking to it. But like in terms of like building a real estate business from scratch, and that's probably what most of us are doing right now, is you have to understand the 4 models that are inside that book. And here's a little acronym that I use to just remember them. It's ELBO, ELBO, like elbow, economic, lead gen, budget, and organization. Those 4 models will really help you get some clarity into thinking bigger. Like that's why we start with mindset and like creating your goals first. Like I can't just get in my car and press on the gas pedal without touching my steering wheel and get to the destination I want to. Like I can come with the same amount of energy every day, but I have to know where I'm going and I have to have a guide to get there. So like put that in your GPS, understand what is needed to do, and then like start reverse engineering your plan. Like goal set to the now of like, all right, I know that if I have a goal to make $100,000, how many closings do I need to get there?
Right. And therefore,
Somewhere in the ballpark of 20 to 24 for most agents in our market. How many appointments do I need?
It's a little bit less than that with these high prices.
Yeah, sure too.
And then based on that, how many appointments do you need to go on? And how many conversations do you need to have?
How many leads do you need? How many contacts? Yeah.
How does tech fit into that? Like, because I think a lot of times, you know, when we flash this, we're a tech company thing, and we have this wonderful command system. People, how do I want to say this politely? I think people sometimes can use tech as a justification for not doing what matters more than tech.
Tell me more.
Good question, Mr. Coach. What I mean by that is somebody comes in and they don't may want to make the calls, or they don't want to go to the networking events, or they don't want to grow their database, or they don't want to seem salesy or something like that. And therefore they say, ooh, let me learn every little nook and cranny of this command system.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is they got no one to put in there.
Yeah. Yep.
And don't talk to me about smart plans if you don't have a database. You got to get a database first.
Well, and Bill, you've been in enough trainings in KW. They talk about the same thing with like having a smart shelf of like, you've attended every class, you have every book earmarked, and yet you're not taking and practicing any of the things that you've learned. It's the same thing with tech, right? So, yeah, and honestly, that's what the training that we talk about, or at least the training that I talk now for those who've recently been on it, we go through the models. Like I'm not necessarily going through creating a contact. Like y'all can figure that out. Like it's pretty easy to do. The goal of technology is we're talking about like, okay, here's a system for contacting your database. And the way to use technology is to prioritize who the people are most likely going to give you business. So like you first have to add people to your database. And I don't care if we're talking command or if we're talking a shoebox, like you have to get in contact with people. So like if you're not prospecting and marketing, if you're just showing up to classes and putting names into a database, but you're not lifting up the phone, or you're not going on knocking on doors or delivering pop-bys, it may be time to go look for another job. And I hope that's not the case for a lot of you.
So what about if you were to get, I don't want to bring on the tech guy and then basically tell you guys not to focus on the tech. So let's give people a really kind of, what are the primary things people should be doing at the beginning for command? I'll throw out a couple and maybe you can give me some details.
Okay. Yeah.
Around those. So my thought is we got to get the people into command in the first place.
Right.
And I think there's probably a couple of I would segment the database. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on segmenting the database.
Okay.
Segmenting the database would be, you know, who's my pipeline, who are the local people, who are the not local people, who are my past clients, who are my friends and family, that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
I'd segment the database. And then I might create some very basic smart plans. And what I mean by that is the quarterly call, and maybe a happy birthday, or maybe a neighborhood nurture. But what my fear is about smart plans, and what I see a lot of people using smart plans for, is they only have, you know, a handful of active clients, yet they're putting them on this drip that may not even be a value when they need it. And then they're using the SMART plan as a justification for not actually making face-to-face contact.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So when we talk about a touch, let's just call it a touch plan. Like SMART plan is the command word, but let's just take tech out of it. If you're creating a plan for your business and your goal is that you need to touch your people 36 times a year, no matter what.
But just as a sidebar, so 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock today, okay, I posted the link in the chat last night. Andy and Leslie are teaching their 36 touch class.
Yeah.
So when you're in that class, you should be thinking to yourself, which of these touches can I automate using command?
Yeah. And here's some insight based on the new MREA and what they're going to rewrite. So it used to be a 33 touch, now it's 36, which I like the math. It makes sense 3 times a month. But what they're saying is you have to call your database 4 times a year. Once a quarter, you need to be picking up the phone and contacting every single person in your database. That's number one. Number two, they're recommending that you do 26 emails to your database. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I know that 26 emails is basically every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I need to be sending some type of email to my database. And that's where automating that biweekly neighborhood nurture is a great thing that you need to get out there. Now, realistically, to Bill's point, that's not prospecting. That's just something that needs to go in the background because, like, truthfully, your people aren't going to look at it. Most of the times, they're not going to open it up. However, one time out of those 26 times you're going to send it throughout the year, it's going to be serendipitous that you happen to send it to them that week. And then they decided, oh yeah, I was thinking about you. I wanted to call you because I'm looking to list my home, and you just have to send me an email. Well, they forget the fact that you had emailed them 25 times before that throughout the year. And it just happened to be that one time that they saw it.
Right.
So that's 4 plus 26. We have 6 to go. The other two things that we're tackling are 2 events a year. You'll learn a lot from Andy and Leslie if you're attending that class. They, like, smart agents, understand that the more events you hold, the more touches you get, because you're sending the invitation, the RSVP, the follow-up, the photos afterwards, the great to see you messages. You're getting 6 to 8 touches by holding one event, and you're making a huge impact. And then lastly, to round up, we're at 32, we need to 36, 4 touches need to be something tangible, something physically they can hold. Now, there are so many things that you can talk about, like magnets and pop buys, all those things. I would recommend sending books. If you know somebody that owns a business, send them the MREA or send them the one thing. Have some type of tie back to Keller Williams with it, but there's a million things. You'll learn a lot from Andy and Leslie there. But the most important thing, like with these touch plans, I don't care if you're calling, I don't care if you're texting, I don't care if you're sending emails. The most important thing is, like, you need to have a system and a standard for your touches. So every time I reach out to Bill, it has to check off one of these 3 boxes. Did it make Bill smarter in any way? Hey, Bill, did you know that Keller Mortgage right now is offering a 0.25% interest rate better than any other company right now? I know you just recently bought your house as late as 2016. You may not be in the market, but what would it look like to refi? That's probably something you put off during COVID. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, every time if Bill were to take me up on that offer, every time he's making his mortgage payment, maybe he's thinking of me in a good way. Not like,
because he saved a couple $100 and he's taking his spouse out for a dinner or something, or making an investment in something for the kids.
Yeah. So I'm educating, or I'm making him smarter. There's an opportunity here. The other thing that I want to check off, so I want to either make Bill smarter, or I want to make him remember me. And me personally, and this is probably where I'm out of alignment with PC a little bit. I love the Ford model. And for those who don't know the Ford model, it's really not necessarily a script, but it's a path to conversation with your database that you're calling them and saying, how's the family? How's your occupation? What are your recreation? Like, what are you doing for fun? And then what are your dreams? FORD, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. But, like, we know people don't move for fun. They move because something happened in their family lifestyle or their occupation lifestyle. So if you just call people and know what's going on in their world based on their family and their job, you'll get real estate business. And I've said this stat a million times in my classes, but, like, Bill, do you know anybody that's pregnant?
Yes.
Did you know that there's a 33% chance that person is going to move in a 2-year window, either the year before the birth of the baby or the year after? But 33% of NAR calls it couples, but I know there's a lot of single moms. but you have a Hall of Fame. Like if I'm batting 33%, I'm in Cooperstown. Like that's a really good stat. But if you just call your people and know who's pregnant, you have a good chance of getting real estate just by that, knowing that information.
It's true.
Where's it going there? Oh, but Ford is a good method to get in a stronger relationship with people without that pressure of calling Bill and asking for a transaction. I get to know him and I get to connect with him. But all of my touches, the intent is that they make Bill remember me in some way. Now, I challenge you is that like there's a lot of crappy content out there that we get people to remember us for the wrong reasons. Like, I don't want to be known as the agent that sends recipe cards. I'm not a chef. I'm a real estate agent, right? Like up your game a little bit of like, make that something powerful in which like I've connected with Bill in such a level that like me just remembering that he's really into, oh gosh, Bill, I'm blanking on something you're really into. But like I'm connecting with a hobby or a personal connection that, that makes him remember me because I kind of use that reference point there.
And it could be anything. Like I saw this thing on Facebook today that was like, it was like a link for like a history of a lot of the counties in Georgia. So like, it's just random stuff. Like if you have a history buff in your database, say, hey, I came across this. I thought of you. Let me know what you think.
And you can tie that back to real estate of like, hey, I know you're a history buff. Hey, take a look at this book that I found. It's of historical homes in Roswell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, there's that connection back to real estate. Bill, when I think of you, I went to profit share, and for whatever reason, I steered away from that. Like you're my profit share guy.
There's nothing wrong with profit share.
I know it just didn't work for the Ford model and the method that we're using today.
So we've kind of glanced over the Ford model, and I believe we're going to talk about that in bold for those that are
can't wait. Yeah,
participating in that. But is everyone clear on kind of that, or maybe do you want to take like a moment or two maybe to do a role play or to go into a bit more detail about that?
Yeah, I'll get into more detail. So like, and I would love if you can take yourself off mute and participate here. Like you have to understand why people move. And again, this is again not a technology conversation. This is a people conversation. This is why I love the consumer aspect. Why do people move? It's not for fun. Has anyone recently moved? Like that's on the call.
Last April.
Okay, Candace, why did you move?
We decided we wanted to go further out, which was a big mistake.
Okay, further out. Okay, tell me more.
More into nature, nature. Wanted to be more around horses and cows and rolling hills and pastures.
Did you move during COVID?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one of the fun times. So like that is an example of the Ford model showing up for the recreation and dreams. And like, I don't know that had ever shown up before COVID. Like you could say that like people would only move because of family and occupation, but like there was this whole mindset that like hit our nation that like if you were in a position to make a move to either, in Candace's situation here, if I'm going to be stuck at home during quarantine, I want to be stuck someplace where I can breathe or someplace that I really, really enjoy. So like, that's why you saw a lot of vacation homes. That's why you saw a lot of people like even renovating their houses. That R&D part of Ford actually showed up a lot during COVID, which I don't think it's ever happened before in our history that people moved outside of family and occupation. But that's why that model is so great. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, was that pretty much the situation?
Yeah, that was great analysis.
Yeah. But like typically like people move because all kinds of reasons. And let's talk about the happy ones first. You're having a baby, right? Like that's a fun one. You're getting engaged or you're getting married. We know that couples usually move and they combine houses or get their first house together. Jobs are a big one. Whenever people, like, I don't know if this is an American thing or if it's across the world, but typically whenever we get a new title, we get more money and then we always keep up the Joneses. When we get a pay raise, we have the opportunity to move our kids in better school districts or just in a better atmosphere that we want them to be in. So like pay attention to people's job titles. Like that's a field, not only in Command, but almost every other CRM of like, know what people's titles are. It's important. It lets you know what direction their arrow is pointing, and that can give you an indicator of whether they're move up or move down.
Just as a side, can I interject for 1 second?
Yeah, please, Bill.
The point is it's important to them, and therefore it must be important to you, right? But you need to lead with what's important to them. So if they post on Facebook that they took a new job or whatever it is, and they have a new title, we heard from Sam's introduction today, titles are important to people, right? It's a status thing. It's a, it's an accomplishment thing, right? So if you pay attention to the things that are important to them, that's where you win. But like, honestly, titles mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
So like, if I don't resonate with how important that is to Sam, then I miss out a huge opportunity. And quite frankly, I probably won't even get into the relationship with him.
Yeah.
Because
Well, and
he's
that's
looking for somebody to recognize that.
And that's a great point. So like you called me what a MAPS technology trainer. The reason why coach is so important to me is that like I've been wanting to become a MAPS coach since 2018. It's been something I've been working on for that long. And it's been a journey. So like I feel like I've earned the title of coach, and that was a huge moment for me. But like, yeah, if you were to call me the director or manager of technology, I wouldn't have cared. It's not something that would have been on my list for years to achieve. But the key thing, like Bill, imagine it like I'm talking to you and I'm trying to like just get to know you from a Ford model. And I got through the part we're talking about your family. Like, oh yeah, how's the job going? Last time I connected with you, you were weren't you like a launch coach over at Keller Williams?
Yeah.
No, you're a proximity coach.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was just going along with your things.
No, sorry.
Do that again.
No, people will very, very kindly correct you. Very much like I did to Bill whenever we first started this call. Like, yeah, it's a coach, not a trainer. Sometimes it kind of doesn't hurt to get that wrong, because people will very casually just say like, oh no, by the way, I'm actually a proximity coach, or I'm a senior accountant, or now I'm superintendent of whatever middle school instead of principal. People will correct you on the title, and that's all you need to know. You can dig a little bit deeper into that conversation if you want to. Like, oh, tell me more about that. Was that promotion for you, or was that a lateral move? Like, what's that look like? Do you have to move closer to the school district now, or you can go into those conversations?
Are you excited about that? Do you have some new responsibilities?
Well, and like COVID was great for this too, because like a lot of the Ford conversations with job was, are you working from home? What's that look like? Remember that open floor plan that you bought for me last year? How's that going? Is it time to look for a basement, or is it time to look for a fifth bedroom? Where are the opportunities here to make sure that you're not pulling your hair out at work, at home? And also pay attention to who owns businesses inside of your world as well, because not only can you have a commercial conversation for whatever business they may own, but also you want to take care of their house as well. But yeah, every good thing, there's also that really dark part. And I know Greta, I see you're positioning yourself, and I think this is really smart. As the divorce agent. That's one of the key reasons why people move. Like, divorce rates are still 50% in the United States. That's a pretty good stat to play with. And I've yet to meet an agent who's gotten 3 sides of that with 2 buys and a sell. But typically you're at least getting a sell and a buy with a divorced couple. But there's death, there's divorce, there's breakups, there's all kinds of nasty things that happen in people's lives. But this is where I think and job loss on the other side too. This is where I think though that like real estate agents are superheroes. Like, for every good thing where we can open up a new playroom for a new baby, there's also closing a chapter where like you help somebody sell their childhood home that their mom had passed away in, or the case may be, and you're helping people through some of these like really dark emotional moments, and you have an opportunity to like make that seamless for people and to not bring more stress into the world during some of the darkest moments of their lives. Oh yeah, and by the way, you get paid to do it.
Right. So basically, if you're on the lookout for people that are in transition, right? New job, new family, kid coming back from college, baby, somebody died, blah, 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 blah. These are people that are going to make real estate decisions soon.
Yeah.
Right. And quite frankly, I think that people still need to lead with the human to human interaction, and allow technology to remind you to do it, and allow technology to automate a portion of it. But if you just put somebody on a drip campaign and then you think that's going to seal the relationship, you're flat out wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Because those emails, they're canned emails. They look like canned emails, right? It looks automated, right? Hello, XXX, comma. I mean, They know that's automated, right? Especially somebody that's hot. There's no need for them to be on a drip campaign. The drip campaign they should be on is the FMLS search.
Well, you can do this now in Command, which I really like. And just a tech update here too. There's a really cool feature about to come out in Command. And here's one thing that I love about this new leadership group that's changed over at KW. We have this tool called Collections, which basically is going to allow you to send curated lists to your clients. It says like, hey, I know I have you on this search for, the Martin's Landing area. But what you can do is you can kind of cherry pick a short list of houses and send those to your clients and say like, hey, take a look at these. These might be on your list. And what's cool is that this isn't going to be like an email that goes out through FMLS. This is going to be a notification that's going to hit them on their app. So if you don't have your clients downloading the consumer KW app with your branding onto it, you're going to miss a huge opportunity there. They can still use your website, obviously, but like get that mobile app in the hands of as many people as you possibly can. But to Bill's point though, like these conversations really, when you boil them down, it's not about being in tech or not being in tech. This is another fundamental that, again, pull out this book. It's the difference between prospecting and marketing. Like those smart plans, those emails, that's marketing. That's passive. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just one of those things that goes out there that you send it out in the world and you hope that somebody calls you back. The best agents have learned that you have to be prospecting based. I'll say it again. You have to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced, which means that I need to pick the things that I do well that I have control over. I have the ability to wake up every day and go door knock. That's prospecting. I have the ability to wake up every day and go call for sale by owners and expireds. That's prospecting. That's me going out and reaching out to the individual. Marketing, like the drip campaigns or Facebook posts or a billboard on I-85, marketing. So what that does is I put a piece out into the world, some type of content, and it's up to the consumer to call me. That's the opposite of working smart, not hard. It's just like, let me just throw my name out there and see if anyone calls me back. Like, what if you dated that way? What type of client would you get, or what type of boyfriend or girlfriend would you get if you just said, hey, I'm available? You're going to get a bunch of creepers in your world. The goal is that you want to connect with people that are really, really important or have the best opportunity for you to change your world. The reason why we recommend door knocking. Well, actually, let me ask the question. Let me press this question. Why do we recommend door knocking? What assumption are we making about door knocking? Let's boil that really down.
It's dangerous.
It's not dangerous.
Okay, another one is that I hate when people knock on my door.
I'm not looking for excuses, but tell me why is it that we tell our agents to go door knocking? What is the number one assumption that we're making? I'm sorry, Greta.
You get face to face. I mean, I like it because I can read their body language and their eyes and engage.
Yeah.
And get to know them.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. If I'm knocking on a door, I assume that the person that opens the door owns the house. But here's the thing. I also know that they live in a house. If I were to throw a piece of social media out there, it's hitting everybody. I don't know if they're a renter. I don't know if they're homeless. I don't know if they have 19 houses and are probably one of the best investor opportunities that I may have. I don't know anything about them, but I know that when I go pound on somebody's door, not only can I get face to face, to Greta's point, but I'm assuming that they live in a house. There's almost a 100% possibility they live in a house because they're answering the door to the house. So like working smart, I'm going to meet people where I know I'm going to have the best opportunity to have a real estate conversation. The same thing with for sale by owners and expired. So the reason why we contact them is that they've already waved their hand in the air. They're jumping up and down. They're saying, hey, I want to list my house for sale. Now, like, and the reason why y'all are so smart in productivity coaching is that Bill will help you with the scripts because like both of those groups have objections that you have to handle. But like, the reason why we say call for sale by owners and expireds is that like we know their intent. They want to sell their house. They're telling us that.
So, I mean, I personally, I built my business virtually 100% prospecting. I did almost no marketing.
Literally, you're a smart agent. Yeah.
I probably spent less than $1,000 in my first 12 years in the business.
Yeah.
marketing. And I spent it, I all of my energy was prospecting, active, in your face. I'm going out there and I'm creating conversations.
The
Right.
best agents in our organization, they're prospecting based, marketing enhanced. And Bill, can I share my screen? Let me grab a thing here. I want to share just a screenshot with some folks just in case they haven't seen this yet.
Give me 2 seconds.
I need 2 seconds too to go find my thing. But what these agents will do is they'll find one key thing, maybe 2 key things that they enjoy doing from a prospecting basis. And they will supplement that with 2 pieces of marketing. So like most agents are only focusing on 3 to 4 things. Where are we at? So this exists currently inside of the current MREA. It's on page 138 of the MREA. It's outdated. They didn't have social media back in 2004 when that book was written. But here's like, for those of you who haven't seen this, these are your different opportunities for prospecting at the top. And like, this is your tech guy telling you, go do 2 or 3 of these things. Focus on these and the business will come. And if there's a day that you want to just rest your knees from door knocking all day the day before, maybe then look into doing social media ads through command or do postcard campaigns, things like that, something that's going to help you grow names to your database. But if you want to get in business, you want to get in business quick and you want to get into a sustainable business that's scalable, pick up something up here, pick up 2 things in the top 21. Now, just a bit of advice here. I'm going to just get personal with y'all. If you were to ask me to go door knocking, I would be that agent that would go knock on the door and go, please, God, don't open the door. Please don't open the door. I don't do well with that. Not my style. However, I could call for sale by owners and expireds all day long. So what I just want to share with you is just like, stay inside your strength zone. You don't have to do all of these things. Pick the 2 things that you're going to absolutely rock and that you're a rock star at, and live inside your, I don't want to say your comfort zone, but like live inside your strengths. Because, you know, like when you show up and you have the energy of calling expireds the way I would, you're going to get business from it. But if I show up to a door and I'm knocking on it with the energy of, oh, please don't open it, I'm most likely not going to do well with my scripts and not likely going to do well with my conversions there.
Right. I think that
take a screenshot of this if you don't have it.
In most, how do I want to say this? Kind of like in most businesses, kind of in our society, we are used to the word marketing. And so people get into the business and they say, okay, how do I market? Right. And which is another way of saying, how do I select an expensive, passive way of letting the world know I'm a real estate agent?
Passive is it? Yeah, that's the keyword.
In my opinion, none of that's necessary. I mean, yeah, later on, but we got to go out and get belly to belly with people.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to be able to like have a marketing budget that's going to compete with the Redfins and the Zillows and the Mark Spains and all that. You got to go one by one by one, getting in front of these people and building relationships with them. And to Sam's point, you go to where they're at. You go to the house. You go to an open house. You host an open house. You're calling people that have a home that were not successful in selling it. Right.
I love that, Bill. And I love that. And I think, and I don't know if I've done this to anybody in this room, but a lot of agents will come to me and they'll say, hey, Sam, can you show me how to run a Facebook ad? And I'll say, great, pull up your command, show me your contacts. Because I want to see what your database looks like before we go chasing smoke instead of fire. I want to know that you're growing a database and you're out there doing the activity that's going to get you business before we go chasing squirrels. Prioritize the people that are going to get you business. It's door knocking, it's prospecting.
I agree. All right, we're running a little behind time, so
sorry, I do that to you, Bill.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So can you talk? Well, let's actually just cover a couple of really quick housekeeping things. When are you in Roswell?
I don't know yet. I've been kind of floating on Fridays and then another day throughout the week. I'll get more consistent with that though.
Okay, and you are. How do people reach you if they have some questions in the future?
Yeah, my email is probably the most responsive, sam.jackson@kw.com.
Okay.
I'll be honest though, I get a little bit annoyed at my cell phone sometimes. So if y'all text me, I usually am a day behind, but I'll drop that in there too.
Okay, and what is you come and chat with us for PC people, 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock on Fridays, is that right?
Every single Friday. Yep.
Every single Friday. So if you've got like pop-up questions, or you need to figure out some, neighborhood nurture or designs or any of Command's features, you can do that on Friday afternoon. And same as basically teaching some form of a class every day during the week, right?
Yeah, and we're probably going to cool off a little bit because our focus is going to be bold in the month of June and July. So my goal is that I'll be teaching. So bold is going to be every Thursday in June and July. We'll be doing a workshop every Tuesday. So if you are taking bold, we're going to have like this little workshop to help with the tech pieces and some of the information material that we get from bold. I don't have a time on that yet, but I'm thinking noon on Tuesdays.
And
But
why
yeah,
would somebody go to bold, Sam? Why would somebody go to bold?
Okay, yeah, great question. But so for those of you who haven't seen my video, I did share a video, I think, through a smart plan to the database and on my YouTube channel. Bold changed my life. Like, you may hear a lot of things from leaders in our organization that says like, hey, if you need production, if you need to go get some more units, if you need to go grow your business and get shot out of a cannon, go to bold. That's true. Without a doubt, it'll give you the scripts and the skills that you need to really learn. But I'd be curious to see. I don't know if they're going to do it in the virtual environment or not, but there's a lot of mindset that gets discussed in the bold. And that's something that really did change my life. And just I'll do a quick recap. There's this exercise called the future self, in which they kind of, you've probably all been through like that meditative, like, to sit you down, they have you close your eyes and you have to like picture yourself in a field or walking through a nice little trail. And they have this exercise where you meet your future self and you have a conversation with your future self. And the first time I took bold, I didn't see myself. I was 30 years old and I couldn't see my future self. And honestly, that's because I had a lot of like messed up head trash in my brain that like, my dad died when I was 27, and my grandfather, who was truly my father figure growing up, died of a stroke when he was 62. And like, I had no family history. Like, I didn't know my dad's side, and it was my mom's dad who took care of us. So like, I didn't have a family history. I didn't know the lineage of any of my men. So I just assumed that like Jackson men died early. Like 62 is like very young. I don't want to die at 62. That sucks. But like, I had it in my brain that I wasn't going to live into my 60s, and just had that trash. And that sat with me for a whole year. I took bold again. And then it was so rewarding to see my future self the second time I did that exercise, and to have a conversation about kids and opportunity and all the things that I can take control in my life. And it was truly a breathtaking thing that was like therapy for me. Helped me get through a lot of, I don't want to say like skeletons in my closet, but a lot of just cancer in my brain of things that I needed to get out of there. So yeah, you'll get the production, you'll get the skills, but I would say for a lot of you, you'll go in there with, I'm going to take something out of this that's going to mean a lot to my life outside of the world of real estate as well.
Yeah, that's what leaders do, is they help. And you alluded to this earlier, right? Leaders help you change the way you think so that you can get what you want when you want it, right? And when you think differently, it handles the real estate stuff, it handles the not real estate stuff, and it helps you get clarity on the daily plan. Did you want to add something else?
Yeah, I mean, since then I show up into every conversation, every relationship completely differently. Like, when you feel like you now have a purpose in life, you're going to bring a different energy to it. But I would say the key thing is like, if you're on the fence and you really don't want to go to bold and you're being forced to go to bold, do not go to bold. Only go to bold if you are willing to be vulnerable and come out of this like you're going to the gym and you're going to like get your muscles swole. Like, we want to make it to the point where like you feel growth. Like, it hurts to get the growth. If you go in there with the wrong mindset and you're not open to learn and to be vulnerable, don't go.
Yeah, just
on the flip side, go. It will change your world. Like, be vulnerable for 6 weeks, for Pete's sakes. You can manage that in the course of your lifetime. Commit these 3 hours for 6 weeks. My goodness.
All right, real quickly, do you have some resources? We had a question about how the KW app compares to Realtor.com and Zillow and whatnot. Do you have any resources on that? Is there a video on that, or some tips or strategies or anything?
I teach that class every 2 weeks. So if you see it in the training calendar, there's a course called Command the Consumer Experience. I'm teaching it this Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30. I teach that every 2 weeks. We'll go through your Keller Williams app, how to use certain scripts. We actually pull up the Zillow website and the Zillow app right next to the KW one, and we walk through that experience. And the key thing, it's very similar. If you were to pull up our website and Zillow's website, they're almost identical at this point. There's some subtleties, but the functionality of it's what we're looking for. And that's really how you win your clients. You have to get them off of Zillow.
Sam,
Greta.
it's not Zillow. None of my clients like Zillow.
Use Redfin.
They all like Redfin. Yeah. Redfin's
So-
good.
Yeah. So here's some of the script too of Redfin is different from Zillow in the sense that Zillow is still selling advertising to all agents. Redfin is now its exclusive brokerage, the same way Zillow is, but they still have that advertising component. I would say the key thing is like the conversations I would have would be take a look at most people are conscientious of their data these days. Like there's a reason why people choose Apple over Android. It's because like they don't want their data sold everywhere. So I'd say like, hey, here's the deal. Like when you work with Redfin, and go ahead and fill out that form. Let me know how many different salespeople call you. I bet you not only do you get a call from 2 or 3 different real estate agents, but you'll probably also get your information sold to a mortgage company. When you use the Keller Williams app, when you use my app, you won't get a call from anybody unless you reach out to me. You fill out that contact page, it notifies me. You favorite a property, it notifies me. Now, you let me know how you want me to handle that relationship. If you want me to call you every time you do that, or if you just want to fill out the form and we can schedule something more formal. But just know that your data is protected. It's not being shared with a mortgage company. It's not being shared with an insurance company. It's just me.
Right. And to your point, Greta, whether your people like Redfin is almost irrelevant because they're your people. The problem is what happens prior to them becoming your people, right? So what Sam is alluding to, and I think what the technology is alluding to, is we are trying to get them before they go get harassed by 100 real estate agents. So if they say, oh, I got a real estate question, I guess I should go to Redfin or Zillow, you've lost them, right? If they say, oh, I got a real estate question, I don't make any decisions without talking to Sam, let me call Sam, then that's a whole different discussion.
Well, and Gary Keller uses the analogy of like, what would it take for you to go change your bank right now? You've probably been banking with the same company for a million years. It's not one feature on an app that's going to get you to move all of your financials one place to the next. And that's kind of the way consumers work of like, there's not going to be one feature on the KW app that's going to be enough to get people to move from Redfin to ours or from Zillow to ours. You have to have that conversation on a bigger why, kind of a bigger component of like, hey, here's at risk if you continue to use Redfin, or here's what your experience is going to be like if you continue to use Redfin. And challenge them like, hey, go ahead and fill out that button, see what happens. I guarantee you're going to get called by a mortgage company. I thought you're looking at houses, not shopping for a mortgage.
Right. All right, let's send everyone away with a message for the day. What should they do? What should they do today, Sam? Outside of going to the class from 10 to 1 with Andy.
Yeah. Well, can I start with gratitude? Like first and foremost, like I just want to congratulate y'all. I don't care how long you've been in the program. Like just thank you for being inside the productivity coaching program. I think that is the smartest thing that you have done besides joining Keller Williams, which is a company that's going to protect you in a real estate injury moving forward. But like you made the right choice of showing up to PC. I appreciate your time of being here, being engaged, because this is by far the best training company and you are with some of the best hands in the industry. I say this like being 100% genuine. In the Georgia Legacy Group, we have the 3 best productivity coaches in the entire country. It's no joke. Like you have Bill, who is an ex-team leader turned PC, who's grown this program like overnight. The dude knows some stuff, listen to him and take action on what he's saying. And he's added tremendous people with Candace, but like you're in great hands here. Keep showing up. And I promise you that like, you're just one more phone call away from breaking through. You're one more door away from breaking through. Don't get distracted by the fun things or the things that you heard from other people. Listen to Bill and do those things. He's not going to misguide you.
Thank you.
I'll take that check for whatever we discussed prior to the call, whatever you're going to send me.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, guys, 11 to 12 o'clock on Friday, Sam hangs out with the PC group for all 3 offices.
Exclusive to the PC group, yeah.
You've got his contact information here, and I will do a quick post into the announcements page with that. And Sam, as always, it is a pleasure to be in business with you. I appreciate everything you do for PC and for GLG and for KW. And congratulations on all your new titles and all your new responsibilities. It's a pleasure to know you, sir.
Yeah, just so you know, my focus is still here. You guys will never see a difference in what I offer every day, but I love y'all. Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much.
Thank
Sam.
you,
Thanks,
Sam.
Bill. Bye,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.